Hello and welcome back, everyone, to Digimon World 3 on Rocket Rabbit Commentaries, and in this episode we are returning to Central and East Sector, specifically to do the Sepicmon quest. So, yeah, just like with the Digimon Blue Card quest, the Sepicmon quest specifically is a bit notorious, but it's specifically notorious because because we finally made it in the South Sector, our encounter tables have changed. They've only changed in a couple of areas and only very minorly. So it feels really weird that we still have to run all the way through Central and East Sector in order to do this quest. When, you know, we've unlocked South Sector, why the fuck aren't we questing in South Sector to do this? But no, Sepicmon told us to go to Central Sector for this, so we're back in Central Sector.
Boy, these wild encounters sure can get distracting, grumble, grumble, grumble. What was I doing again?
Thankfully, that isn't an issue that I've ever actually had with Digimon World 3. Whenever I go on grinding binges, it's usually because I'm attempting to accomplish a different, mostly unrelated goal. Specifically, attempting to find a couple of specific cards from Cardmon packs. Hey, Betamon. Diremon's Lake, now that we've actually gone into South Sector, actually has a new spawn in here that is Seadramon. And Seadramon is effectively the best source of experience for us to be grinding on right now if we were actually in its spawn zone, which we are not yet. Now, I think the spawn zone for Seadramon is specifically the bridge and a bit below it. Spawn zones in this game are really weird, and I don't think I've ever actually seen anyone actually talk about them, but I know for certain that they exist because Plug Cape is mechanically defined by them, as is Protocol Forest.
Oh, sure. That there's just an invisible grid of, like, step on this, and then RNG determines whether you're about to go into an encounter.
Very specifically, just like Final Fantasy 1 had. I don't like Final Fantasy 1 or 2, and it's a shame because I really enjoy the Final Fantasy franchise, but 1, I end up getting lost before I can end up finding the Adamantite. I am convinced that I end up skipping over the Mount Gurgu quest line, and I have no idea how the fuck I managed to do that. And in 2, well, 2's gameplay is absolute shit, so hey, Minotaurumon. You may recall from earlier that Minotaurumon was actually one of the better mons for us to actually do grinding on, and this is still the case at this point in the game, just it is less so. Now that we are effectively immune to Minotaurumon's damage, the fact that he provides 28 experience for a relatively quick fight is quite nice. However, at this point, if I was gonna, 27. If I was gonna use a Central or East Sector to do experience farming, at this point I actually would be trying to do Cardmon 1 from trees. So, since we're doing what is effectively a main quest that feels like a side quest, I may as well go into the way that Cardmon works. You'll recall, Mr. Cloud, that we specifically got the kicking boots and the fishing pole several parts ago, right? Well, those key items allow us to encounter Cardmon. The fishing pole will allow us to encounter a water-based Cardmon, and the kicking boots will allow us to encounter a tree-based Cardmon by, kicking specific trees. Kicking Forest specifically has got so many goddamn trees that the Cardmon that you get in Kicking Forest from kicking trees are slightly better than the Cardmon that you get for virtually anywhere else in Central and East Sector, but not in South Sector, kind of weirdly. Cardmon are very important for grinding because the water Cardmon that you can encounter as soon as you get the fishing pole is worth 60 experience base experience per kill and roughly 10 DV Digivolution experience until I want to say like level 19 or 20. It's pretty explicit. It's pretty explicitly one of the highest threat level enemies in the game until we actually get into West Sector. The issue that the water-based Cardmon has is that it's still only dropping Booster 1B, and it's one of the smaller problems that the game ends up having from this point forward. the cardmon that you have the ability to encounter, although are technically supposed to be skilled for the areas that you find them, end up falling off in power really fucking quickly. Because the best cardmon that you actually have access to at this point in the game is cardmon 4B, and 4B has got actually a relatively interesting pack list, but it also kind of specifically has all of its good cards on the rare slot, and attempting to build a deck based on cards which are only in the rare slot is fucking tediously annoying as all shit. You know, just like in other collectible card games. I really enjoy
grinding up for specific cards, sure.
I really enjoy the card game in Digimon World 3, certainly, but there's a good reason why we're not actually showing it off all that much, and that's because, well, for this run and the practice run, I didn't actually use Cardmon as a dedicated farming spot except for exactly once, and that once was prior to the major boss fights going into West Sector. Yeah. And I end up doing that, and I end up doing most of that grinding off screen. I end up showing off the spots that I'm doing for that grinding, but it is off screen.
Meanwhile, back at the castle gates,
we have returned to Asuka Bridge, attempting to find Sepicmon's mask. Hey, it's Sepicmon! So yeah, if you recall the Tricky Guillemon, this is how literally every single quest in the game ends up going. We end up encountering what is supposedly the solution to our problem, except we've been lied to.
Oh, I see.
And as we talk to the other citizens of Asuka City, or at least the other players loitering around, it becomes quite clear that the Sepicmon that we talk to is not only being a veritable menace throughout the city, and it's our job to figure out as to why. It's not clear that it is our job, but yeah, it is our job to figure out why Sepicmon has been, a menace to these people. And Edamon, well, he's just being a nice, friendly citizen, telling us that Sepicmon went off to Divermont Lake so that we can attempt to go confront him. You do need to talk to Edamon to set up that narrative flag. And yes, this is a main quest. You have to do this the narrative. So, despite the fact that we just spent, 5 minutes running from Kicking Forest all the way back to Asuka City, now we have to go from Asuka City over to Divermont Lake. Why is there so much fucking backtracking, Mr. Cloud?
So you can use the map.
There isn't a map. Like, it's one of these smaller problems that ends up hurting future playthroughs of this game. You're required as the player to effectively memorize where key locations are and how they are connected to other places, because you don't get a map. The overworld is actually extremely simple because it's all point A to B connections. That said, all of our connections are on cardinal points, so it can get relatively iffy later on. Actually figuring out where and how you're supposed to get to places once we actually get our alternate methods of transportation.
So this game uses the hikers in the woods approach to helping travelers stay oriented on the path. Is the use of landmarks. For example, you got to go to this area of the map to find the gigantic RCA cables. You got to go to Asuka Gate or Asuka Bridge to find the plug-in and play guard soldiers.
No, because the DRI guards are actually in several other areas in the game. So if you're using them as your dedicated waypoint, that's just going to have you with problems. It is significantly better to just memorize what individual areas are called. That way, and their connecting points. That way, you can figure out where you need to go most efficiently. Thing is, I'm convinced that this game is not meant to be played efficiently. I'm pretty sure that between every narrative beat, you're supposed to actually be doing effectively a full level of grinding on each of your partner Digimon. And while there definitely is a case to be made that is, you know, one of the most thorough ways to play the game, it's so fucking time intensive that I just can't. I cannot agree that is one of the more fun ways to play this game. Even if you're going for 100%, getting 100% in this game very specifically is dependent on you getting every obtainable partner Digimon up to level 45. And because of the steroids that the equipment in Digivolution give you, at some point it's just better to wait until the end of the game in order to start doing the grinding.
This is a man.
Yes, this man's name is Nick, and he's only 21, despite the fact that he looks like he's 30.
I'm not old.
So yeah.
Oh, a shield.
Yes. Nick, so it's not actually clear at this point, but Nick actually found Sepicmon's mask, and as he found it, so did Edamon. Edamon stole Sepicmon's mask and has been parading around as Sepicmon. But yeah, as annotation credit mentions here, if you want the conclusive hint, you can go back to the Swamp Inn in order to talk to a Sepicmon about this encounter. Only to have Sepicmon tell you, no, Edamon stole my shield, go get it back from me, you dingus.
Dingus.
So, one of the random-ish things that happened whilst we were, you know, doing this main quest is that we got enough experience to level up Kumon to 12 and actually score Cubimon as a Digivolution. Cubimon is an elemental spellcaster Digimon. So the fact that it's Kumon's first secondary Digivolution line is fucking terrible, because not only does Kumon have relatively bad wisdom growth, spirit growth, which is, you know, the magic attacking stat, he's got the worst MP growth in the game. So anyone that is actually trying to focus specifically on a spellcasting would end up being a total waste of Kumon's time. I don't know why they gave him Cubimon first. Honestly, they should have given him Metal Mamemon. I mean, it wouldn't have...
Talk about suffering the stepping stones on the way to your destination.
Oh, yeah. Because each partner Digimon effectively follows a class system, it gets really, really weird when their Tier 1 alternate Digivolution lines end up clashing with their class system. It happens very specifically with Kumon, and I think it happens with Agumon as well. But it doesn't happen often enough to where it is a recurring problem. But it does happen with specific Digimon partners. I really do like.
Wait, did we just buy experience? Oh, right. The currency bits in this game.
I very much like the sound design in general in this game. A lot of the music tracks are very comforting background pieces due to nostalgia, and a lot of the sound bits are quite nice to me as well.
This game, honestly, like, I keep forgetting it's a PS1 game. It looks more like
it does look more like a
Nintendo DS game.
An early PS2 RPG. I'll grant you that. Which is just how much detail and how successfully they are pushing the PS1's 2D engine. Because they are pushing it quite a bit, honestly, when it comes to the 2D assets. The 3D assets, not so much, because all the models are jank as shit, especially Greymon. Thankfully, we'll never get to see normal Greymon's model, but it is jank, very jank. Anyway, Edamon has successfully handed over the Sepik mask, so now we can travel all the way back to go to the Shaman house in order to give Sepikmon back his mask, so he can tell us how to go defeat Zampamon. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time in this part to actually make it all the way there, but in the next episode, we will find ourselves back in South Sector, attempting to continue on with the main quest. So much backtracking.
So much backtracking.
Be safe, everybody.